Welcome back from Pompano Beach, Florida, home of the Florida Powerboat Club, and we are now presenting the third episode in a series of the Key West Offshore Poker Run 2022 edition, featuring 30 years with the Florida Powerboat Club. Stu Jones along with producer Ryan McCoy, and we have got a fantastic episode ahead with boats, bikinis, and big horsepower. But before we get started, let's thank our sponsors. Our 2022 series sponsors include Blackwater Boats and their sister company Deep Impact Custom Boats and their authorized sales center Plantation Boat Mart, Mystic Powerboats, Cigarette Racing Team and their authorized sales center TOPGUN Yachts, Cigarette Dealer Chief Marine Group, Midnight Express Powerboats, Big Thunder Marine, Concept Boats, Performance Boat Center, Mercury Racing, and Florida Powerboat Club's longest-running sponsor, Nortec High Performance Boats. And in addition to our series sponsors, these feature sponsors joined us for Key West. They are Legend Marine Group, Wozencraft Insurance, DefcoTruck.com, Superior Communications, McLaren of Charlotte, Outer Limits Powerboats, Hardin Marine, Double R Performance, Wilson Custom Marine, MTI, and Hollover Marine Center. And we are now catching up with the Thursday group of powerboats here at Grove Harbor Marina. What a sight that is. Look at all that fiberglass right here in Coconut Grove, Florida, one of the busiest marinas here in this part of Miami. You can see that they've got all kinds of wet slips and yachts and cruisers and some of the powerboats mixed in there to some of those slips. And over here on this floating dock, we've got a bunch of boats rafted up and ready to go. Of course, the scene isn't quite as crazy as it might be on previous years. Remember that we are right in the midst of Hurricane Nicole. It just passed through Miami less than 24 hours before this scene, and that means that a lot of boats had decided to stay home. Many guys got on trailers and went all the way to Key West, so we've got a pretty light group going down to Key West on this Thursday, but we still have over 200 boats registered for this 30th annual celebration with members of the Florida Powerboat Club. This is one of Florida Powerboat Club's longest running events and consistently our biggest event of the year, and that's why we call it our signature poker run. And now time to talk about what's happening here right now. A lot of moving parts here at Grove Harbor Marina, and of course we could never run a big poker run like this without partners like Grove Harbor, because they have got all of the facilities and they do pretty well with such a small footprint. It's not a huge marina in terms of its acreage, but they somehow manage to move a lot of boats through this facility every year, especially for the Key West Poker Run. And that's in spite of the fact that they've already got a couple of hundred storage customers on racks here, both inside and outside, and they've got well over 100 wet slips, and they're actually expanding the marina right now. And we're going to kick things off now with Jimmy Harrison from Fort Lauderdale with his Nortec 390. It's got Quad Mercury Racing 400Rs. Well, at least for now, because most guys with these 390s, they love the boat and they want to get their hands on that new Mercury Racing power. So I believe that he's got a set of 450Rs on their way. And any of us in the industry would know that FJ Propeller is the leading propeller shop here in Fort Lauderdale, supplying most of us in the poker run world as well as the racing world, and they handle the big stuff too. And getting some nice aerial shots from the drone here as Will Kufis pulls up Team Willpower, 32-foot skater. And that is the lovely Miss Carey, his first mate, getting the card right now. And they have been on an active roll with poker runs this year, got right into it early in the season. Actually, in the summertime, they did both Bahamas poker runs in this 32 skater. I do believe they joined us again up at Destin, and then here they are again for the Key West Poker Run. A good year for this crew. He takes care of his own boats. He runs a rigging and a service shop in St. Petersburg, so he knows his way around the engine room, and he's helped me on a few occasions and a lot of our other members as well. So one of those guys that's willing to roll up his shirt sleeves and be a good Samaritan on every poker run. And it's Brock Vernon now in this 32-foot Doug Wright Cat. The Twin Mercury Racing 300Rs appears to be the perfect power matchup for this boat. We've got a lot of Doug Wrights on the event. And it's a father and son team here on this 42 Mystic, Gary and Troy Karwowski from Connecticut. They are one of 4 teams that came all the way from Connecticut to join us. And another brand new center console. This time it's Ray Akey with his new Deep Impact 399, Quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. Gotta love the colors, the Nardo gray matched up with this bright orange. This is Ray's 3rd Deep Impact, and he's loving the boat. And kind of a maiden voyage of sorts, because he just got the boat completed. It's got a lot of custom features that you cannot see, like the CO2 fog machine that is activated with the push of a button. But that's what they do at Deep Impact here in Miami. They build custom boats, and you are going to witness a lot of variations of this model on this Key West Poker Run. That's because there's 8 of them here, and of the 8 that are attending, I think more than half of those have been delivered within the last 6 months. So you're going to see some really cool Deep Impacts throughout the next few episodes. And what a great shot here at Grove Harbor as you see the boats continue to roll up to the dock to get their cards. Off there in the corner of the screen we see our helicopter arriving, and that usually means that it's going to be a good time to get on the throttles and start making your run for the Bay Waters and southbound to Key Largo. We don't want to waste any of that precious helicopter time. But look at this magnificent shot of all the boats as they exit, and as well as several other boats still on their way in. Remember that a lot of teams left from Haulover Inlet and Haulover Marine Center earlier, but it took a little longer than usual because most of us went in the protected waters of the Intracoastal, because although it looks really nice out here right now, it is rough in the ocean, trust me. And to illustrate the wide variety of boats and different hulls we have in the club and on this run, Danny DeSantis from Massachusetts, a brand new Skater 43. And it looks like we're going to be wrapping up this card segment here at Grove Harbor. We got the FPC girls on board. I see Justine winding up the lines, and I see those little punching poles pushing us off the dock, thanks to Scott and the team from Grove Harbor, who always do a fantastic job with fending the boats off the dock. Now we got the girls getting wrapped up in their PFDs by Mustang Survival. Those are my custom ones that I ordered, guys. They got their own FPC logo on them, and I always recommend that these Mustang jackets are among the finest out there. Well, now we're going fast, and for us, fast is about 55, 60. We're not one of the fastest boats in the club, but we like to stay at the back of the pack and just keep our eye on the group if anything were to happen. We did have 2 Miami-Dade fire rescue boats out on Biscayne Bay on the Thursday run, so nice to have that peace of mind if there were any incidents out here on the course, but everyone seems behaved today, except her. And those of you who know these waterways can tell me what bridge this is. Wait for it, wait for it. All right, you're right, the Card Sound Bridge. So we are now in and around Key Largo. In fact, Key Largo already started a few miles back, way off to the port side, but this bridge connects the mainland with Key Largo and would connect you to an area that would bring you close to Ocean Reef Club. And this means really we just have one more bay to cross before we get to Jewfish Creek. And it's Kendall, Sage, Gloria, and Justine joining us here on the Flight 1130 as we now pull up to Gilbert's. And remember, this is not our only lunch stop today. This is going to be the biggest lunch stop, and what a great site it is. The guys actually did, I think, a fantastic job of getting tied up. You know how I'm always reminding you guys, V-bottoms with V-bottoms and center consoles to center consoles and, cats to cats, and try to keep those similar length boats together. Well, it wasn't an exact science, but it was not bad, and I think that it worked out pretty well here. We averaged about 6 boats per raft, and I think we got about 7 or 8 rows in, so we were capable of hosting up to about 60 boats here in this format today, and that took care of most of the teams that were scheduled to stop over here at Gilbert's. But with a little bit of fine-tuning, we could get this up to easily 75 or 80 boats comfortably, and that just means to tighten up the rows and try to match the boats up with equal length, and that format will guarantee a smooth lunch stop. There's a gap. Yep, there's a huge gap there, guys. That gap shouldn't be there. Got to tighten it up. So that's what I'm talking about. If you close up the gaps, you're going to get more boats in here. A couple of those slips didn't get used. That's because it was so windy. Wind was coming in from the southwest, and it was blowing hard on those fingers, and it made it very difficult to dock on those finger piers. But here's a great shot from the drone, and I think overall you guys nailed it and got a good lunch lineup here at Gilbert's, and what a show this is. Well, we didn't get a chance to wander around in the restaurant for this one, but I do see people heading out to the boats. That means that they've had their lunch, so let's listen in to the takeoff as they head out to the bay waters. Well, a lot of loud, big horsepower here at this Gilbert's lunch stop, but I see the motors running on Shane's 42 Statement, but I don't see the motors running on Brett's boat, so I guess that's why they're hip-tied. And thanks to Shane Franks for helping out Brett, and we'll find out later what that was all about. I always enjoy this segment of catching the boats as they leave Gilbert's. Ken Goldberg there with his brand new Cigarette 41 Nighthawk. I love this boat. I just love the colors and the Quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. He left early today. 8:30 a.m. he left his dock in Boca Raton to try to get down and catch up with the group on time. But it was an exciting day for Ken and his crew because it was their very first time doing Key West, and they said they just loved it. The people, the boats, and all the excitement. And now catching up with another Cigarette, this 46 Rough Rider, Michael and Brenda Caravetta from Canada. And they've had a good run this year with this 46 after completely redoing the boat. All new paint and re-rigged with Mercury Racing 1350s. Guys, just reminding you that you can buy an older boat and do a complete resto mod on it and you will have the boat of your dreams. So not always as easy to get in a brand new boat, especially one like this. So this project turned out fantastic. Congratulations to Mike. What a beautiful ride. And an MTI 42, a popular boat on this run and in this club in general. Mark Waddington from Performance Boat Center, one of our sponsors. Brand new 42 with Quad Mercury Racing 450s. And it's one more time with Team Bad Larry, 44-foot Outer Limits GTX. And I like what's going on here, and that's because they're digging through the seat lockers to get all the life jackets out, so everybody is wearing a PFD. So thumbs up to this crew for following our safety guidelines, because that is important, and of course it is mandatory on FPC runs. And a nice shot of Stephen Whitekin's Outer Limits 46. Can you say hatches? I mean, that's a bunch of hatches, right? But what a fantastic looking boat. Mercury Racing 1075s. Not a lot of these full canopied Outer Limits in the club anymore, but this one is just beautiful. All the way from New Hampshire, so thanks to Stephen and his crew for coming a long way to be here. And here's our Big Thunder Marine entry. This is Anthony Vieira with the new 34-foot Fountain Thundercat. And Anthony is a young, enthusiastic kid who works for Dad at the local Big Thunder Marine store, and he loves powerboating with great passion. And now closing in on what looks like to be a Renegade. Yes, Stefan Modafari and his first mate Maria from the Ponte Vedra area, North Florida. They're loving this 33 Renegade. The last time they joined us, though, was way back in the summer of 21 for the Bahamas run. Nice to see them back for Key West. And another one of the 8 Deep Impacts registered for this event. Another brand new boat. This is Byron Storms all the way from California. And a beautiful 399 it is with Quad Mercury Racing 450s. A great side profile of the boat there. And just remember that no 2 Deep Impacts are ever the same. Each an expression of its owner. And this one is on its way back to California real soon. Well, we knew we'd see this crew sooner or later. This is Dennis Delatorre and first mate Brianna. And they are the reason that we see a lot of these brand new Deep Impacts on the Key West Poker Run. They operate Plantation Boat Mart right here in the Florida Keys. And this is their dealer demo, Deep Impact 399. And this one didn't hang around very long. It already found a new home. And this has been a great spot for our drone to hang out, as we see now Rhea Key over to the left side of your screen pulling away from Gilbert's and heading out on to Blackwater Sound. From here, guys, it's about 110 miles to Key West through some winding and scenic waterways. And my advice to everybody for this next 20 or 30 miles is just kick back, get on cruise control, and enjoy the ride. And meanwhile, about 10 miles further to the south at the opposite end of Key Largo, riding on board our Top Gun Flight 1130. Remember, we didn't stop at Gilbert's. We kept going. That's because Cigarette had an owner's lunch at Playa Largo Resort here in Key Largo, mile marker 97. Puts it exactly 10 miles down the highway from Gilbert's. And we pulled in and tied up here at the docks at Playa Largo. And there was a number of other Cigarettes here that were invited to be a part of this Cigarette owner's lunch sponsored by Cigarette Racing Team. And this was a fantastic stopover, as it always has been. We've done this now for 4 years in a row. The first 2 years was under the ownership of Skip Raver. And then since the Ruiz family took over the Cigarette Racing brand, we've had them sponsor this lunch stopover again. And it has been a fantastic event every time. Of course, this time with Hurricane Nicole, we ended up with probably 15 boats that made their way here to Playa Largo for the lunch during the course of the 2-hour stopover. So that was far less than we had anticipated, but for those of us who did get here, it was a nice lunch and it took a lot of the pressure off of Gilbert's in Key Largo. Of course, we also did an owner's lunch for the Nortec group in Key Largo, and a handful of Mystics got together in Marathon. Now here's what it's like to ride on board the Top Gun Flight 1130, guys. We're running about 55, 60 miles an hour. We caught up with a couple of other Cigarettes. That's Chat's Need off in the distance, and I think I just saw Tori Robeson in his Cigarette 42X, and looks like that Doug Wright Cat 32 coming along and dusting us. That's why you own a cat, guys. In these calm bay waters, it's 80 to 100 all day long. For those who wonder what that sound is, that's the music of Mercury Racing 1100s here in Tori Robeson's B First 42X Cigarette that I've had a chance to ride in on a few occasions. Tori is from the Minnesota area, but he fell in love with Florida boating, got himself a condo right near Haulover, got himself a Cigarette, and now he says he enjoys the freedom of the powerboating lifestyle and meeting all the cool people. Well, I hope we gave you guys that in-cockpit experience riding on the Cigarette Top Gun Flight 1130. Remember, guys, I just repowered with Mercury Racing 565s. This is the first shakedown run with the new power, and the boat is running just fantastic. Honestly, I couldn't be happier. Of course, it has a little bit to do with the fun crew I have on board, but, you know, I'm just sorry that Jackie couldn't be here because she's driving down so she can be in Key West to open up that Poker Run Village at the Conch Republic Seafood Company. Special thanks to Florida Coast to Coast Helicopters for doing some great flying with their R-44. And we have the entire FPC photo and video crew with us. Ryan, of course, our producer, riding on board in the Cigarette with me, and up in the helicopter that is Jerry and Joe, our usual team, flying in the chopper. So lots of fun here today as we cross these beautiful bay waters as we now approach Marathon in the Middle Keys. And that other Cigarette that was running along with us, Chad Sneed in his 39-foot Top Gun Mercury Racing 700s. Love the rooster tail coming off of those NXT1 drives. This is a great boat, guys. Really ideal for poker runs. Love the paint and graphics. The perfect engine package. The boat will run 90 all day long. But he's just set it on cruise control today. And we've seen a lot of Cigarettes in these first few episodes. For those of you who were wondering, it was a total of 30 registered cigarettes on the Key West Poker Run. We're not sure that every one of them made it because of the storm, but a great showing from this iconic brand. And the word iconic, well, there's a nice segue to the actual iconic marine group, manufacturers of the full fountain powerboat lineup, and this model, of course, the 34 Thundercat. This one belongs to Mike Riggs from North Carolina, Twin Mercury Racing 450Rs. I know it's a brand new boat, so I'd like to congratulate Mike and his crew on the new ride. And setting up the money shot now here for Cigarette with the 39 Top Gun of Chad Sneed, along with our crew in the 38 Top Gun. And I love doing this, guys. If you get a chance, if you see the helicopter and there's a couple of other boats running along nearby, just try to get in tight and get your speeds consistent side by side, and this is what you're going to get. I love getting boats together for these group shots, especially when they're from the same manufacturer. And I know the team over at Cigarette are happy to see this as well. Now, of course, Chad could push his throttles and smoke the hell out of me right now if he wanted to, but he's being a good guy and saying, okay, Stu, I'll hold back for the pictures because it is kind of cool. We're making our way through Marathon right now, which means we're about 50 miles from Key West. And if you want to make a decision whether it's better to go offshore or through the backwaters, guys, you can always do a test ride from Marathon down to BAJA Honda offshore in the ocean. And that gives you a way out. If you get to BAJA Honda after the first 10 miles and you're not enjoying the ride, you can come in the BAJA Honda Bridge and then complete that final leg going through the Saddle Bunch Keys and the Gulf of Mexico, coming into Key West from the north side. So it's time to get back up with the helicopter because we've still got a lot of teams making their way down from Key Largo to Marathon. And now catching up with Bill Yates, who is enjoying the day on his Nortec 390 Sport, triple Mercury Racing 450s. Simple graphics, black bottom, silver sides, and that unique rally stripe down the center. What a great looking ride. Thanks for joining us, Bill. And now catching up with DJ Sarisa in his Midnight Express 43. At the time, anyway, Quad Mercury Racing 400Rs, and he has since repowered with 450s. Love the look of this boat, and I know it's working out because he's got a lot of friends joining him on these poker runs, and they can't fit any more people in that little 38-foot Donzi cockpit. So a great platform for Darius and his lady Amanda, because they can bring all their friends on the Key West poker run now. And a great showing from Midnight Express, a total of 10 midnights on the Key West poker run, and you can check out the brand new 52 Vitesse model. It'll be on display at the sponsor docks. And our famous flyby shots, we call them, as the helicopter makes its way slowly back northbound, picking up all of these teams as they continue on their trek on these protected bay waters through the middle and upper Keys. And I'm certain that everybody's very happy with just how the conditions ended up being here on these Florida Keys waterways from Key Largo to Marathon. Well, there's still a lot of boats offshore and making their way down to Key West, but a lot of guys jumped the gun and are already down here. Some took the ocean, some took the backside, and some trailered down, but I know there's a ton of teams getting ready for happy hour here as we now catch up at the Conch Republic Seafood Company, our Key West Poker Run headquarters now for over 20 years.
Good afternoon. So we're here on the 30th annual Key West Poker Run this year. Congratulations, Stu. I myself have been doing this event for 21 years. And probably have had over 30 different boats, so I guess that qualifies as 30 years. We had a beautiful run down. We came down this afternoon, and we did the backside, which is a first for us in the new Deep Impact cabin boat. And we had a nice ride coming down, a little calmer than the ocean side would have been today. And we really lucked out this weekend. It looks like we're going to have a beautiful weekend with the weather, with the hurricane pulling away now finally. And we have a beautiful selection of some pretty deep impacts, some new ones that we have out. We have 3 or 4 opens and a cabin boat, and some really nice stuff going on here this weekend.
And thanks to Mark Fisher for getting us caught up here at the happy hour at the Conch Republic Seafood Company. And this is exactly what Mark is referring to. A lot of good stuff going on. These brand new deep impact models all together now for a photo shoot that we conducted on Saturday morning with our FPC photo and video crew. Of course, we rented helicopters all day long Saturday 2 helicopters doing 2 shifts each, a total of 8 hours of flying, and this is what the outcome is. Our sponsors love us, and so do our club members, because anybody who got missed on the trip down, like Rob Rill here in his 37-foot AXOPAR, was able to get photographed here on this Saturday morning as we got out for these beautiful offshore conditions. This is right off the coast of Key West, maybe a half a mile offshore, and all the way out to Boca Grande and Woman Key. Just fantastic conditions today for our fun run. And when I speak about Rob Rill on Team Darkside, I know that his main mission was to get out and be chilling on the sandbar and getting his foil out and riding it around between the boats, because he loves riding that foil. I hope we get some video of that later in the show. He's all the way from Puerto Rico, and they already have 2 Bahamas runs on their logbooks. And completely different than that last boat is Curtis Morris, 36 skater. Some serious big power in this 36 Team YAHOO, all the way from Texas. He's done a lot of runs with us. Let's listen to this beast roar. And going to spend a little time with Ken Goldberg now, Team ACP, 41-foot Cigarette Nighthawk, brand new boat, 2023 Mercury Racing 450Rs. And we saw him earlier, but just kind of idling slowly out of Gilbert. It's nice to see the boat up on plane and doing what it's made to do. It's Ken's first time on the run. He said he's wanted to do it for years. And now going to spend time with Ted Honeycutt and his new bride, Lacey. They got married earlier in the year, April, and they say this event was their honeymoon. Well, in order to do poker runs, they needed a powerboat, so they sold their Mastercraft Wake Surf boat, and they got this Baja, and that's why they named it Change of Pace. They were registered for the Wednesday run, didn't want to deal with the hurricane, so they left early on Tuesday, came down on their own bottom. They said it saved the event for them. Okay, by now most of you guys are trying to figure out what the hell is that boat. Well, I'm telling you, it's a 1988 34 SCARAB Ninja. Yes, belongs to Chris Snow, completely rebuilt a year earlier, second time now on the Key West run. And for that reason alone, I gave him the Best Classic Boat Award. And for Chris and his crew, well, that made it all worth the long hours to put this boat back together. And that's Gabby Pachenko at the helm of this Cigarette Factory-sponsored 515 model Mercury Racing 1550s. It attended the run a year earlier, so thanks to Cigarette and to SD Marine Group for being a big part of this annual Key West offshore poker run. Get ready to see a lot of these MTI 390X models powered by Mercury Racing 450Rs. This one belongs to Mike Boyle, who's from New Jersey but also has a home in the Cape Coral area. And we've been telling you about Mike getting out of his 34 PILINI Cat and into a new boat for several episodes now, and indeed he finally did it. And this is his first appearance on an FPC poker run with this brand new 39 MTI, and I know we're going to see a lot of him on future episodes because he's very active with the club. He gets out to as many poker runs as he can. And, of course, another MTI 390X. Like I said, guys, you're going to see a lot of these on this run. Dennis Phillips from Florida, his first Key West poker run in this new 39 matching engine cowlings 450Rs. Love how the graphics flow from the boat right over into the cowlings. Guys, these custom paint and graphics jobs that you're doing on these boats are just fantastic. Never see two that are identical. And if you think it looks nice here, what do you see it up on a tilt trailer going down the highway? These boats are just amazing in every way. And now catching up with Kurt Watkins from Boca Raton, his Nortec 390 Sport. Another one that is rigged with the maximum power selection for Mercury Racing 450Rs. That's a lot of power on a boat with a 10-foot beam. And most people who own these boats absolutely love them. They perform well. They've got a lot of room still in the cockpit. Even with that 10-foot beam, still plenty of room to move around. 2 rows of bolster-style seating facing forward. So plenty of room for a lot of people to go have a lot of fun and go fast. And now catching up with Justin DiGiovanni from Texas and Team Ginger, 34-foot PILINI Cat Twin Mercury Racing 400Rs. He's been busy this year, joined us for the Orange Beach Powerboat Week, followed that up with the Emerald Coast Powerboat Week in September, and here he is now just a couple months later attending Key West. All the way from Texas, 1,400 miles one way, but he was smart. He went right through Miami and trailered all the way down US 1 to Key West and did the same thing going home. So one of the few guys that didn't want to deal with Hurricane Nicole and the seas that she had to offer, so I think he made a smart move. And catching up now with Connor Toomey from Maryland with his 32-foot Doug Wright, also powered by Mercury Racing 300Rs. Altogether, 7 Doug Wrights registered for this event. And remember when Connor brought this boat out earlier in the year, I think he attended the Spring Key West Poker Run in 2022, and it was the first time they had the boat out for a run. We went out to Boca Grande, got some great pictures. But here she is again along those same waters just about 7 months later, and they are just having a wild ride enjoying these conditions today. And it's another brand new MTI, this one a 50 center console, 5 Mercury Racing 450Rs. We could not identify this boat, no decals or markings, so we just want to leave it in the show anyway because we think it's an awesome boat, and of course MTI is a sponsor. But I think Randy and his crew would be happy to know that the 45 boat roster that they had here at the Key West Poker Run could have been 46. So just a shout out to MTI, what a great brand, and thanks to their support. And we just hope that we get this one registered for the 23 event. And now getting a chance to catch up with Byron Storms, that team that came all the way from California to join us. They just purchased this brand new $399 from Plantation Boat Mart. So this is their very first poker run. Glad they could spend it with us. And now it's time for a big shout out to SD Marine Group from Isla Morada, who registered this 41-foot Cigarette Nighthawk. It's got quad Mercury Racing 450Rs. And once again, as I said earlier, this 41 Nighthawk becoming a very popular model from the Cigarette lineup. And it's that brand new Mystic M5200 that's making a big splash all over poker runs and boat shows in recent months. We got on board the boat a month earlier in Daytona Beach, but here's John Kosker to talk all about it.
So we're in Key West here, 2022 Key West. Our first long trip at our new 52-footer. So this is our new M5200, obviously 52 feet long. It's the flagship of our model line now in the outboard center consoles. We have this one powered with quad 600 Mercury V12s, absolutely amazing engine. The maneuverability, the power, the torque, and literally how quiet 2,400 horsepower on the back of this boat can be just shocks me. Never been a big joystick fan, but this joystick really works on this boat. Between the 8 propellers swinging on the 4 engines in the back, and then it's actually interfaced with the bow thruster. So we can walk this boat straight sideways, put it wherever you want it to be. We've got a 15 kilowatt generator on board, we've got a CQ 6 on board. It's really, really well outfitted. Cockpit AC on it so you can be cool in our big wraparound windshield on the boat. Full 14-foot beam on this boat, so it's a relatively wide boat for the performance market. Most boats aren't this wide, but it just gave us a lot of real estate to really do some different layout. With a boat this big, luckily we're a semi-custom builder, so we can do exactly what the customer wants. We just had an owner on board. He's built 2 42s with us, and he came on board with his wife, and he's like, what if we do this? What if we do that? And we've been a very customer-driven innovation company where we listen to our customers because they use the boats every day, as do we, and we get a lot of great suggestions out of them on how to tweak the boats to make them the best that they can be.
Well, that was a great presentation from John Kosker, and much thanks to him and his crew for being series sponsors throughout the 2022 season. Here's a closer look now at that new 5200 model. And I have had a chance to ride on the boat, and everything that John says is true. It just handles like a dream. And illustrating that Mystic has something for everyone, for those of us who want to go a little faster, this C4000 CAT, a complete carbon fiber layup with Mercury Racing 450s, is a great performance package. You can cruise 90 to 100 all day long with some of the best fuel economy numbers we've seen in a very long time. And for those of you who have fallen in love with this 5200 but don't have that kind of money to plunk down, remember that Mystic also makes a 3800 model and a 4200. So there's a lot of ways to power that and a lot of ways to build the boat. Remember, John said that they are a semi-custom builder. That means you get it the way you like it. Guys, we have just finished off this episode with a great feature from one of our manufacturing sponsors, but we have gone way over our normal 30-minute timeline for this episode. So our promise to you is to come back with about 4 more episodes with feature coverage of this Key West offshore poker run. So guys, we're going to sign off. And remember, if you want to catch those shows, you got to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you'll get the update when that next show comes out. Be sure to check out the website at flpowerboat.com for all of the details about upcoming poker run events in 2021, as well as membership information. You can follow us on Facebook at Florida Powerboat Club, and you can follow us on Twitter and on these Instagram pages. Thanks to all of our viewers for your wonderful comments on our page, and you guys know who you are, and I really do appreciate that. But if you have questions or comments you want to direct to me specifically, please use my personal email at stu@flpowerboat.com. I check that daily, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We're going to sign off for now. This is Stu Jones, along with our producer Ryan McCoy, in the Pompano Beach studio. Have fun out there, guys. Be safe on the waterways. Wear your life jackets when the time is right, and always respect your fellow boaters. Bye for now.